What's up, guys? This is me, your host, Sean, back with the seventh episode of the Dinner Convo. And today we have a very
Oh
exciting
my God,
guest, right,
what
guys?
the heck? Come on. Where's that
Dude,
energy? Where's
this
that
this
energy?
is
Come
this
on,
is
I need
my
that energy.
first
Come
time doing
on!
an intro. This is
I
my
need that
first time.
goddamn energy.
This is my. I mean, look at I have the energy inside me, but you
Yeah,
can't see it.
no, but you gotta show it, man. You gotta show it. You gotta make our guests feel
Nah,
good.
I mean, this is my first time, so I mean, it's
Yeah,
just gonna go like
yeah, okay,
this.
okay,
Come
come
on,
on. Go
and
ahead, no
just give.
problem.
Okay, so as I said, this is we have a really exciting guest today, right, guys?
Yeah, definitely, sure. I mean,
So
we've had a, we've fought a lot to get him, and because it's really worth it. Yeah, so, Sean, would you like to do the honors to introduce again, or should we take over?
I mean, I just did the intro, and I had a lot of pressure doing the intro.
Okay, all
So you guys can take
right.
over.
We understand. Sean's a sensitive guy, but no problem. We love you, boys. And so today's guest is he. He's an Instagram influencer with over 67,000 followers, and his YouTube channel, unfortunately, doesn't have that many subscribers, which surprised me. Or for an influencer with that many subscribers, and plus the content is really good. We'll talk more about it during the rest of the podcast. He's based in New York. He has he makes fantastic travel vlogs and documentaries, and he's a videographer of awesome characteristics. So without any further ado, let's get Gabriel DeSanti. Gabe, can we have you, man?
What's going on, guys?
Hey,
Hey,
we're good.
How
oh,
are
how
you?
are
How
you,
have you
man?
been?
How are you,
I'm
man?
doing great. How are you all doing?
We're doing great.
We're all
Very
Fine.
good
good.
too.
We're fine. All right. Well, thank you, Gabriel, for joining us. I know it's really early in the morning for you guys, but you did
No
sacrifice your
worries.
sleep for attending this small podcast. And yeah, once again, this is a free conversation. You can ask us questions. We can ask you. We'll be asking you as well. No problem. So, without first, Gabriel, you do travel around the world a lot. So this pandemic has undoubtedly brought a huge change in your life, everyday life, how you go along. So why don't you talk a little bit about that? How to change your schedule and stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah. Um, I mean, my normal schedule, so to speak, is includes a lot of traveling. I travel with other people, make videos, help them make their videos, and obviously because of the current situation, like we can't do any of that. So especially at the beginning, like it was a little weird. Like, what do you mean we can't travel? Like this doesn't make any sense. Um, we were on a trip like at the beginning of the year, kind of had to cut it short to come back to New York because everything was getting closed, borders were shutting. Um, and so that was like a little scary, but um, once like we got used to it, we figured out our flow, and then we were able to start creating like from our own spaces, from New York, from our own apartment, um, different things like that. And like at the beginning, it was a little scary because we're like, whoa, this is so different. Of course, it's nerve wracking. Like, didn't know how I was going to make money during that time because people weren't really hiring. So that was like a scary thing. And then eventually, like it started to slowly work itself out. Um, so in a weird way, I'm almost like grateful for how things played out because I've had some like amazing big opportunities that have happened um, from everyone, like everyone being in a pandemic, I guess. Like it's obviously not the circumstances we all wanted. Um, but because of it, I like had to learn to hustle in a different way. And that has afforded me new opportunities that I don't think I would have had if I was just traveling the entire year like it was planned to be doing.
Well, I mean, yes, that's
Yes.
interesting. Yep, exactly. We've had quite a lot of travel vloggers on the show. We've had Mark Reeves, David Hoffman, and they too are talking about this. Like this how this has changed their lives significantly.
Yeah,
Talking about which, uh, well, you live in New York, which is a huge dream for a lot of people to live in New York. So, and but New York is expensive. So, what are your tips on living in New York on a budget, or say like a student living in New York? What are your tips on how to live like an ideal life without spending too much money?
For sure, for sure. I feel like I can almost speak to this better than a lot of people can speak to it. Because I budget so hard. Like I I am on the struggle bus. I am trying to figure it out myself. You know, I probably like a year before I moved to New York, I was couch surfing. I stayed on my friends' couches, on their floors, like anywhere that I could stay. I have this really great friend. His name's Adrian. He he's also like a videographer, creative director in the city, and he's let me sleep on his floor more times than I can count. And like we were on very similar budgets. Like we were eating dollar pizza, we were eating like the cheapest dumplings, like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I mean, I'm talking like spending like $3, $5 a day on food. Like it was struggle city at the beginning. um, but it was like the sacrifice that I was willing to make to like try to get here, because I knew that once I moved to the city, like once I had opportunities in the city, that would pay off tenfold. So that's what I did. Like anything that I could do to just be here, and if that meant like eating cheap, then that's what I had to do. So I mean, I would like skateboard places. I would figure out how to get transportation for cheaper. So like a city bike membership, which is like the bicycles that you can rent here. A membership for a year is $160, I think. And the subway for 1 month is $132. So I just started biking everywhere because it was way cheaper. Like all my gear on my back, just like bicycling everywhere, you know, like any way that I could save a penny, like I totally would. And it just mattered so much because the city is so expensive. And like that's hard, you know. On the flip side of it, because the city is expensive, people also pay a lot more. So rates go up. As soon as I moved here in October, my rate went way up. And I'm still like figuring out what the appropriate rate is for the city, just because you can just charge way more for the same work, but it's just the environment, you know. And at the end of the day, I realized people are, yes, they're paying for my work, but they're also paying for me. Like people want to work with Gabe DeSanti, and I'm not saying that like with a big head. I'm saying that it's like they like my personality, they like who I am, they like working with me, and that's why they come back. Yeah, I'm straying a little far from the question now,
No,
but
it's fine. It's fine. This is what the
No,
conversation.
that's totally fine.
It's fine.
That's totally fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah. I mean,
Love to hear more.
exactly. And New York is undoubtedly very expensive, especially the rents. You know, like the smaller studio apartments, they go for like $1,600, and which is
way more.
yeah,
Way more.
Oh,
exactly.
wow.
Yesterday, I was watching this bus video. You know, they showed this studio apartment, which is like 500 square feet, and it's $1,600. I was like, oh my god! I mean,
I
for,
wish it was that cheap.
What?
you wouldn't
Wow.
believe it, but you know, like the house that let's say Fardin is in, one of the other Fardin's house is around 2,000 square feet. All right, and the rent for that house is around it's like $400 here in Bangladesh. It's $400. It's that cheap. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to visit Bangladesh, it would be very rent wouldn't be an issue for you. You know, speaking of rent. You did go to Bali. Bali is a huge difference in terms of price from New York. It's just
Yeah.
the other side of the world. So, talk about the prices in Bali, your expenditures there, and how you could, you know, make the most of Bali in the
Sure. Yeah. So the first time I went to Bali, I went like back to back. Like I went for a month, and then I went to another country for 2 months, and then I came back to Bali. And I only came back
Gabe, yeah, we can't hear you. Kenny. Your audio is disconnected.
cut out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we can hear you now. You can
Okay.
hear me. This,
Oh, you can hear me
It's
now.
fine. It's
yeah,
fine now.
you can start from the part when you're like, you know, talk about where you were supposed to go to.
Bali.
Yeah, and then you went.
Got you guys. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, so the
It's fine.
first time I went to Bali, I went for a month, and then I went to another country for 2 months, and then I was like, oh, I really like want to go back to Bali because it was so great. And so I just like went back, and it wasn't like my intentions at all, but it was so cheap. And I just like the first month, I was on a budget, but like not, I didn't like know how cheap or how, I didn't know the amount of money that I could spend that would be like the less amount. So my second month when I was there, I really like spent so little money. I think I stayed for a month, so like 28 to 30 days. The place I stayed at cost $300 for the month. It was amazing. I had my own room, my own bathroom, and then there was like a shared pool and a shared like cooking space. But like I didn't even cook because the food is so cheap. So it's like I didn't really care about that. You know, I got a scooter for $60 for the month.
Whoa.
So that's like my housing and transportation covered for $360.
Wow.
Food, I honestly don't remember how much I spent on food, but like spending like under $10 a day on food and transportation. So like it just became so cheap, and so it's like it is really just a great place to go. And I think it's like it's a creator hub. There's other creators there who are doing the same thing. They're also trying to figure it out. And it's, if you're like in Asia, it's a good option because it is cheap. I mean, a lot of Southeast Asia is cheaper compared to New York, obviously. To get there is the most expensive part. You know, if you can find a good flight there, you're golden. Like my first flight to Bali, one way cost me $280. I found like the best deal. It was the best deal I've ever found. And like I got there, and then like I don't know, I spent like $1,500 maybe, like including flights and staying for a month. Like that's my basically my rent in New York City, you know. And like I got there, stayed, experienced, came back for that amount. So it's quite funny.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's thanks for sharing such awesome information. I mean, I don't know we'll ever be traveling, but if we do, that's going to come in handy. Thank you for that.
Have you guys ever been to Bali?
No.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
We would love to go there. Amazing.
When you get there, you'll love it.
Yeah, my father talked about
It's amazing.
going to Bali specifically because it's very cheap. You know, like how you can get 4-star, 5-star hotels for like at a very cheap rate. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, but don't stay in a hotel. Don't stay in a hotel. You have to stay in like a homestay or a villa. Like get a real experience. You know, like a hotel. You can get a hotel anywhere.
True.
But like you
that's
want to
actually
experience.
very advice. Thank you. And that's a lot of people do overlook that, but yes, thank you.
And don't stay in Kuta.
Oh, it's not that.
Okay.
It's just the city. Like you don't want to be in the city. You're in Bali. It's supposed to be like tropical. Like you want to go stay in Ubud or stay. My favorite is Canggu. Like go to those places. Get a villa. Get a homestay. Like I stay in homestays. They're so cheap. That's what I would recommend.
Well, thank you for that. And speaking of YouTube and traveling, how did you start all of this? You know, like what inspired you? How did you get into this particular field?
Yeah. So I started making videos when I was 13, and I was making like gaming videos, and that's how I started making videos. I learned how to edit. I learned how to like record, not necessarily with a camera, but learned the process. And then over time, I kind of grew out of that, and then got my first camera, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. It's like making gaming videos, but not with the same, I call it a different tool. So I'm doing the same thing, but a camera is just a different tool than like a gaming console. And so I just like started making videos because I was like watching Casey Neistat, and I was like, I can do this too. Like, just inspired from watching someone else. And my first thought was, oh, if they can do it, I can do it too. I've always had that mentality, I think. And so I just started making like what I would consider bad vlogs. They're like not on my channel anymore, but you know, they were part of the process. You have to like go through making your first pieces of content before anything gets good, before any improvement is made. And so that's what I did. I mean, for probably like 2 years, I was making videos that are just like, okay, don't think they're good, but part of the process, and you have to like love that. And then the way I got into the travel space was I wanted to travel, so I basically saved up enough money. It was around $4,000, and I went to Bali and I went to Australia, and that trip was a total of 4 months. So I was able to make $4,000 last 4 months. That's including all my flights, all my food, all my accommodation. I did do a job in Australia, like under the table, for like $500. So I had like $4,500 basically the entire trip to make it last. And that trip was so important because I knew I wanted to work in the travel space, but I didn't have any content or like portfolio to prove that I could. And so this trip was that portfolio building. It was so important to actually do it, so then I can bring the work back and be like, hey, I can do this. And so that's exactly what I did. I spent those 4 months like making content and content that I was really proud of at the time, and the best content that I could produce, right? Came back home. I still wasn't living in New York yet, so I was just like trying to get my foot in the door. I got my foot in the door with a filmmaker named Dan Mace. I traveled around the world with him making his videos, and then I traveled with Brett Conti. Brett's like one of my best friends. I know you guys also know him, and he's like literally in the next room over.
Oh, but Connie,
Wow.
whoa. Yeah, we
We're
got
roommates.
awesome. We reached out to Brett Conti about the podcast as well, and he was like,
Cool.
"Yes, man, let's do it." But unfortunately,
Cool.
day ahead. So yeah, if we knew he lived next room, we could have just like told you to like have Paddy and no problem.
Yeah, we live in the same apartment.
That's great. That's great.
So then like 2 years ago, Brett and I met and just like hit it off instantly, did a few videos together, and then he's like, dude, like let's go on this trip. And I started helping him make his videos, and that's kind of like how I got into the travel space. Just like I knew I had to build a portfolio. I saved up money to build it, and then once I had it, I just like pitched it and just like showed people, and then just networked. And like the networking is so important. Like that there's like a saying, like you're worth what your network is, or something like that. And it's so true, because every opportunity that I've ever had is someone that I was either friends with, or there was like a mutual friend, which was the case of me and Brett. Like a mutual friend introduced us, and then we just hit it off, and then the rest was history.
Wow, that's fantastic. And yeah, we do watch.
Gabriel, besides traveling, I see you doing some documentaries. I saw recently the one on the cost of learning. So
Yeah.
how do you make those videos? Like, what makes you think of doing it? Or like,
Of course, yeah.
making it?
So the cost of learning documentary was my first attempt at any type of documentary filmmaking. Kind of like I feel like I've had a little bit of experience with like guerrilla filmmaking, which is like on the go, you're just documenting everything. But then the cost of learning was the first time I ever had like a concept for a documentary type video, and then I knew I wanted to execute on it. The inspiration behind it was I was going through this period where I was doing exactly what I wanted to do. I was traveling, I was making films, but I was so unhappy. I was anxious all the time, and it just like I wasn't myself. And I was like, I don't know how exactly the name came to me, but I just thought like the cost of me doing what I'm doing is like my sanity, and like I'm not happy. And so that was my cost of learning. Like it was my learning period, but I wasn't happy. And so that's how I came up with the name. And I like recognized that way before I like knew I was going to make a film about it. I was just like, oh, like this sucks. Like this is my cost, whatever. And then eventually I kind of recognized that a lot of people had the same thing. Like everyone had some type of significant cost that they were giving up or had in order to achieve what they wanted. And I was just like, this would be a cool ass film. Is basically and so it honestly happened too perfectly. So I got invited to speak at a conference in February, and the topic of my talk was going to be exactly that, like the cost of learning. And I was like, how cool would it be to also do a film, like premiere a film in front of 500 people? And so I just basically pitched the festival, and I was like, hey, instead of doing a 30-minute talk, can I do a 15-minute talk and then also premiere like a roughly 15-minute film? And they were like, that would be incredible. And so then it was 2 months away, 3 months away. And it was like go time. It was like, okay, now I have to do this because I have to premiere it. Like once they start marketing it, it means like there's no backing out. Like I have to. And that's kind of like the story of my life. Like I always like to put something under me to motivate myself a little bit more. Like, because I don't know, if that's not there, it's easy to just be like, I'll do it later, you know? And so the way I started filming it was I was just kind of like writing, like I write a lot, I journal a lot. And so I was trying to come up with the context of how it goes. And ultimately I realized that a lot of that film happened so last minute. Like I realized that I needed these little things and I had to piece them together like so last minute. Like the film was due and I'm like the night before, I'm just like, like trying to figure it out. You know, but it's kind of like that experience for me was so important because I realized like I had to do the interviews to figure out like what would come next. Like documentaries, I feel like happen in pieces. You have to like go back and see how those pieces fell together and then continue from that point. Like I couldn't imagine like going out filming and then not being able to film again and then piecing a video together like that, or at least a documentary, like long form piece. Like that seems crazy, but it is possible, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot of learning.
Definitely.
It's a lot of learning.
then I really like
I suggest-
the very interesting name, you know. And as for our viewers, please do check out Gabe DeSanti's documentary. We'll live
It's
it
an amazing video.
exactly.
Thank you. I'm super proud of that
Definitely it
piece.
is.
Yeah, pardon, you want to say something? Yeah, I'm sorry that I cut you up there.
No, I was about to say that check it out, everyone. It's
Oh.
worth
You see,
watching.
we have a great chemistry. I know what he's gonna say. Yeah. Okay, so so you know, we often tend to have like serious, fun conversations, I guess, but you know, there's always the need to get some weight on the shoulders. So from our fourth episode, this is our seventh. So from our fourth episode, we came up with this idea to initiate this particular segment in our podcast. We call this. Actually, we didn't call it. I mean, in the fifth episode, one of the guests, our guest was, you know, his name is Jamie Hawthorne. He's from the UK. He has this YouTube channel called The Zach and Zay Show, along with another person. His channel is quite popular, and we had the honor of asking him to give the name for this particular segment. So we call it the Why. After accepting what he called it, what you wanted to call it, we agreed on the particular name, and now the name of this segment is called the Why Wait segment. So what will happen is, you know, we'll be asking you a series of questions, you know, rapid fire, like rapid fire rounds. You know how there will mostly be one-word questions, at best take seconds. So if you're on that, yeah. And you'll have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer, or 90 seconds to answer all the questions.
Right.
And we'll just see how many you can answer within one 90 seconds, and
Let's do it.
yeah, and in the end, you'll be competing with the other guests who appeared.
Oh, it's a competition, hey?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Kind of.
How many questions? What's the top?
Yeah, I'm getting to it actually. The
Okay.
highest score achieved was during our first episode actually. It was by this French beatboxer and artist. He's awesome, by the way. His name is Brez. He had 17 points. The second place went to Jamie himself, the one who named this segment.
17. Oh boy. Okay, let's go.
He had 11, and the third place
11.
went to Charles of
9.
French. He's this Thai YouTuber we interviewed actually earlier today. We had a podcast today.
Cool.
He had 9. So if you can beat 9, you'll get the third spot. More than 11, you get second, and then
Let's go. As
and,
long as I get more than Brett Conti. You'll have to lie to him and tell him that I got like 30.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I'll just get the timer ready, and no pressure. And I'm sorry, the pressure's on me, so I mess up a lot. I mess up a lot of questions. And so, are you ready, Gabe?
I'm ready.
All right. So in 3, 2, 1,
Wow.
go. Would you rather travel to Bali or Los Angeles?
Bali.
What's one thing about Bali that always keeps you going back? That would always keep you going
The
back.
food.
What's your favorite food?
Spicy chicken.
Do you like dollar pizzas from in New York?
Love dollar pizza.
Yeah. Is Times Square an overrated tourist attraction?
Overrated.
What's the one thing about USA that you love the most, or New York that you love the most?
The people.
Would you say you're an extrovert or an introvert?
Extrovert.
Do you love communicating with people, or staying in one corner of the room and not talking to anyone?
Yeah, I love talking to people.
What's one thing about filmmaking that you love the most?
The storytelling. And how you make people feel.
YouTube or Instagram?
YouTube.
Who's your favorite YouTuber?
Brett Conti.
If you had the opportunity to collaborate with Mr. Beast, would you do it?
Yes.
What's one thing about YouTube that you hate the most?
The reach, the organic reach.
If you weren't a filmmaker, what you're really doing now, what would you rather do?
I like cooking. Probably a chef.
All right, that ends it. Oh, you
14 questions, right?
14
questions.
14 questions.
You're
Oh,
second.
that's insane.
how many? I didn't count. I was too into the question answer session. How many did you get?
He's second in the leaderboard.
Oh wow, 15 questions. That's awesome.
And
Congratulations.
Brez, and he got 17 questions.
Wait, who was second place?
Yeah, you got.
No,
You're
you
second
got,
place.
You
you're
got the
now
second
second.
Awesome.
I
It's
thought
about.
I was tied for second.
No, you're second. You got 14.
You
And
15 questions.
Jamie
got
got 11.
14
over
questions.
17, but you went for very close. I mean, if it weren't
Pretty great.
if it
3 more
weren't for
questions.
my
And,
you would have done better. I'm sorry I tried to get you over the time. And yeah, awesome. I mean, and the way you answered the questions, that was full of energy. Loved it, man.
Exciting.
Gabriel, you answered 14 or 15 questions, but
14.
yeah, excellent job right there. And yeah, so speaking of which, Adil had something to say. He was tired, and he was desperate to ask. So why don't you go ahead?
I didn't even get a chance to talk to him, man.
Yes, the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So, Gabriel, what countries have you traveled to? You have done a lot of traveling.
You want me to name all of them?
At least some.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Your favorite ones, at least.
Maybe
Let's
all.
go through all of them.
Yeah.
Let's go through all of them.
Yeah, sure.
All right. In North America, I've only been to the United States. That's where I live. South America, I've been to Brazil. And yeah, that's it. I've also been to the Bahamas. Is that North America? Ooh. Okay, anyways, let's get out of there. Europe, I've been to Italy, Germany, Australia, the Netherlands, Finland, France, Spain, England, Ireland, and Northern Ireland.
You've pretty much been to everywhere in the Europe.
Oh wow.
A lot in
Yeah.
Europe. I've been to Australia, and then in Asia, I've been to Bali, the Philippines, Singapore, Japan, India. What am I missing? Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia. I think that's it from Asia. I was almost in China. I was like, I could see China from the border of Vietnam, but I didn't go. And then in Africa, I've been to Morocco and South Africa.
All right.
Wow.
Oh,
So
that's
I've been
a
on
lot of
every
countries.
continent.
That's a lot of countries.
I've been on every continent except for Antarctica. So that's next.
It's about time you go there. As well.
Okay.
That's amazing.
You can make great.
Now
clothes.
let me ask something because I've been waiting to ask this. I've been
Let's
dying
go.
to ask this because I actually asked the same question to the guest in the last episode. So if you were in my place, what would you ask yourself?
One question.
Whoa.
I
Wow, that's a good question.
He's
was
kind of
waiting
like
for
the
the
quiet
last
guy
moment for
who
this.
doesn't talk and then comes up with weird banger ideas, and that's what
Wow. What would I ask myself? Whoa. Hold on, I need to think on this one.
he does. Yeah, it should be.
Definitely, go ahead.
No problem.
I'm gonna ask this to every single guest from now.
Yeah, this might
it's
might end up becoming our trademark. You never know. That's what our slogan will be. You know, we'll have
I know.
merch with this particular quote on it.
Yeah, that's a great question.
What did you do? You made him head scratch his head. Come on.
I'm trying to think of something actionable, or like, I don't exactly know.
I think we should email our guests, next guests, that please prepare for this question.
Yeah, maybe. Nah, I don't know.
You've
What would I
scarred
ask
him
myself?
for life, man. You've scarred him for life. It's probably, and yeah, I know, Gabe, wherever you go, you'll be like, oh my God, what should I answer?
Yeah. I think if I was in your position, the thing I would ask me is, like, if you could give me like one thing that would like what is something that I could do that would help me get to where I want to be?
Great question.
I think
Wow.
that would be the question that I would ask. Do you want the answer to that question too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the reason I asked
Sure,
it.
sure.
I think you guys do this very well already, because you aren't afraid to reach out to people, and I think that is a massive, that's a massive step. Like you are very actionable, and you like weren't afraid to reach out multiple times, and that persistence is key sometimes.
Yeah. We're really sorry to keep on spamming on the email.
No, it's totally cool. Like, it's totally fine. And so I think that's something, like, just don't be afraid to like reach out for what you want, because like if you're just sitting there and doing nothing, like it's not going to do it itself. And then second to that is just say yes to opportunities. Like, if there's an opportunity that you think is going to like propel you forward, even if there isn't like a financial gain behind it, like you just think that it's going to get you to the next level, just say yes and do it. Like, I literally, I have a tattoo that says yes
Oh wow.
on my hand.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, sometimes
And
pitch this to Yes Theory. They'll be very happy. the YouTube channel.
I know. I got this before they started doing that.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
um, but the best things that have happened in like my life and my career are things that I said yes to before I knew how I was going to make them happen. And so just just say yes to opportunities. Like if there's something that you think is going to like pay off, even if it's again not financially, like go for it.
Fantastic advice.
Gabriel,
So,
similar question
what
like
about
this.
that question though? I mean, you didn't answer your question.
Oh, sorry. So I don't know who was talking there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shan, go on.
No, I was. You didn't answer that question that you was questioning yourself.
I didn't answer it.
No, you did not.
He did.
Actually,
He did.
you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You said
I mean,
I asked. I would have asked myself, like, what is something that I can do to like propel myself
and-
forward? And so, one, be persistent and like keep pursuing opportunities, and then two, say yes to opportunities, even if you don't know how you'll make them happen.
Oh yes.
Okay, I mean, I don't know. I was probably lost or something.
No worries, no worries. I kind of like went off, so no worries.
Sean was so happy after asking the question. He lost all your.
He finally got his answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gabriel, can you tell one thing you should have known or you wished you had known before you began your career? Is there anything?
I don't know. Part of me wants to say no because I think everything happens at the right time. Like if I knew something now that I didn't know then, I feel like maybe I would have like skipped a lot of necessary steps or something that it took me to get here. And so it's like people look back and they're like, oh, I wish I knew that then. Like I would have made so much more money. But like I needed to go through that process of learning what that thing was in order to like learn or like gain from that experience. So I think I just want to say no to that question.
That's great. That's fantastic. And we were having such a great. And the boys, the three other guys, they don't usually ask inspirational questions, but today I don't know what's wrong. They're asking awesome inspirational questions.
Let's go. It's great.
And as always, we're having a great time asking these awesome questions.
Absolutely.
And the conversation so far has been. I mean, I feel a lot of times I feel bad for our viewers because they can't do your part of this. You tried very hard, because the conversations are so interesting, so fun. At the end of the day, it's like, So thank you for joining us once again. So Gabriel. So the point of this show, one of the main intentions behind our podcast is to motivate people, and no matter how. Every person has gone through some sort of hardships in their life. So would you commentate on your the hardships that you faced and how you overcame them to become the man you are today?
Sure. So I think like a lot of people like will face adversities and like things that they have to overcome to get to where they are. And a lot of that is, for me, was just about like being myself and like doing what I am passionate about in my life, and that like leads to success in my mind, and that leads to like my happiness, which is what I view as getting to success. And I understand that a lot of people struggle with doing the things that they are actually passionate about because of the input from others, whether that's their friends, strangers, or even family. And oftentimes the family is the hardest part because in my culture and in our culture in America, like for the most part, like you can decide like what it is that you want to do. But in a lot of other cultures around the world, I understand that the parents' influence and family's influence is massive in the decision of what individuals do. Like in a lot of cultures, you have to do what your parents like say, and so that is a massive adversity. and like a massive thing that people have to overcome. And I'm not exactly sure like what that takes. I don't know that how to overcome like cultural like difficulties like that. But for me, it was just like saying no to the things that I knew I needed to say no to because it was right for me. And at the end of the day, that other individual's input would only make me resent them in the end. Like if I did what my parents wanted me to do, which was to be an engineer, I knew that eventually there would be some type of resentment that would build up towards my parents, because then I would recognize I'm not doing what I wanted to do, and I'm not doing that because my parents. So short term, I had to like be like, look, guys, like I'm not going to be an engineer, and like there's that small period of like kickback a little bit, but long term, like I have a great relationship with them. And they are ultimately like supportive of me. So yeah, my advice is just to like go after what you want with all of your heart, and that will always be the best thing. That will always be the best choice. You'll be happy, and I promise you that like happiness measures success way more than anything else.
Well, that is
That was a great
True.
piece of advice, definitely.
Wow, we loved it. Thank you.
Definitely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's actually off. No, this is off recording. We'll cut this particular part out. Yeah. So we do actually. I forgot to mention this during the beginning. We do two goodbyes. One is like very formal, like for the YouTube viewers and stuff, and then we'll be talking to you for 5 minutes, asking a few questions. That's really not part of the podcast. So yeah, let's get this started. Sorry. All right. So yeah, we've been having a great time, guys. Talking to Gabriel DeSanti, person who's actually as awesome as his Instagram account. You guys definitely should check that out. And yeah, Sean Adil Farden, do you have anything to talk about?
I'm just happy after asking that question.
Finally got it answered.
All right. So okay. So thanks once again, Gabriel, for joining us. We've had a wonderful time. I mean, honestly, we were a bit worried because we've had shooting a podcast is pretty tiring because you gotta get all those things set up. Plus we're grade 11 students, so we have to study as well, and then get to the podcast. So but yeah, so we had to shoot 2 episodes today. One was in the afternoon, and now it's night for us. It's 10 p.m. right now. So
Yeah.
we thought, how would it turn out? Maybe it wouldn't be well, but trust me, it was beyond amazing. We loved having you here on the show. Maybe in 100 or 200 episodes, we'd love to have you back here again. And,
Let's do it.
And once again, guys, Anafadil will do the annoying job of requesting you guys to subscribe to this wonderful channel. I will please do the honors.
I think you already did it, Fahim, in one way.
I mean, yeah. Oh, okay. I ended up doing it, but I will do it in the way it's supposed to be done. Come on, get up. Do it.
You guys don't forget to show us some love and subscribe on our YouTube channel, and
Not
it
the
means
brown.
the world to us.
Yes,
Thank you for liking the video and subscribing.
Yes,
And also, guys, do check out Gabriel DeSanti. He's an
100%.
amazing person.
He's an amazing
one of the
person. Huh?
amazing
coolest
person,
dudes.
amazing content creators.
Definitely.
Gabriel,
Yes.
do you think people should subscribe to our channel?
Everyone, all right, the name of the channel is the Dinner Convo.
Yeah, that's
Yes, man.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone, please go subscribe to the Dinner Combo. This group of young men are so awesome, inspiring, doing really rad stuff from Bangladesh. So please, guys, go check them out. And
Same for
you
Gabriel
will be
DeSanti.
disappointed.
Yeah, same for Gabriel DeSanti.
Thank you so
Definitely
much.
check out
That's huge for us.
Yes, and it's sad how he has only 3.75K. He deserves like 375K subscribers. But yeah, definitely go check his channel out. We have to
It's
support
definitely gonna come.
creators. We're working hard. So any podcaster who are small, any YouTuber that's trying to do something awesome, I suggest you guys check them out. Do the research, because a lot of us are sitting at our homes now, and subscribe to those channels, especially Gabriel DeSanti. And yeah, Once again, thank you guys. Have an awesome day, everyone. If you have made it this far, we're more than grateful for having committed viewers like you. And yeah, and once again, stay safe, do good to your community, and be awesome.